and I'd like to ask for the city clerk to call the roll.
All council members are present.
Would you then please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Ben, would you like to lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the March 27th, 2018 meeting and the agenda of the April 10th, 2018 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. Today we have 3 presentations, and for the first one I'm going to pass this to Councilmember Goebel, and he will tell you who's coming.
This great group to my right from El Cajon Valley High School is from their culinary arts program. And Christine, you are their leader, aren't you? I met this group at an event celebrating a grant from San Diego City College and General Dynamics NASCO for the welding program. As part of that, these fantastic students had some delicious treats available during the reception time for that event. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 great thing that day. And I thought, wow, more people need to see the talents of these young people. So I said, would you come showcase your talent and your expertise to the city council, because I bet we'd really enjoy all the stuff you make too. So we affirm the program that you're in is valuable. It's teaching great skills. It's probably teaching great teamwork. We encourage you to keep on this path. You never know where you're going to go. Grossmont College has a great culinary program you may continue on to. And we just appreciate your talents and for what you've made for us here today. Mr. Mayor, I'll pass it back to you at this point. I don't know if you want to let Christine say anything about the program.
Yeah, Christine, why don't you come up to the microphone here and tell us a little bit about the program.
Hi, my name is Christine Baptista. I am the restaurant management teacher at El Cajon Valley High School. We are the only school in the district that has a restaurant on campus. So it is a 2-year pathway, part of career technical education. And I teach the students how to run and operate front of the house and the back of the house. They learn how to create menus, cost them. They get a food handler's card the beginning of their first year. And so we actually serve lunch to the staff in the community Thursdays and Friday. We serve breakfast 5 days a week to the staff, amongst other events that we have on campus. So this is Verna. She's one of my restaurant management students. She is the second year in our 2-year pathway, and she has created a PowerPoint for you all and is going to give you a little brief description about our program.
Oh, great.
Hi. Okay, so we have 2 pathways. So we have the first year pathway, which is we don't allow freshmen because of their matureness. So we have the sophomores and juniors mix in that class. And then the first 4 weeks we study to take a test for a food handler's card, which is really good anywhere, especially when you're looking for a job, because working at a fast food at this age as a teenager, they will take you as soon as possible if you have a food handler's card. What we learn in the first pathway is culinary basics like sanitation, knife skills, and stuff. They serve breakfast every day, and they also have an afternoon espresso for the staff only. So this is them doing deboning a chicken and doing their cutting skills. So second year pathway, which I am in right now, it's a whole school year also. We do weekly lunch service, like Ms. Baptista said. We work front of the house and back of the house. We work with desserts a lot also. We always come up with our own desserts and menus. Yeah. So this is a cream brulee we did and an Oreo stuffed ice cream. We also serve every Friday a grill day, which is either a portobello sandwich, a sausage, a hot dog, or a burger with some fries and salad also. for the staff only, and parents and people in the community that can always join us. So we also have catered and participated in Hall of Braves, which is at the end of the month, we have A of the Day for each student, which is they've been picked by their own teachers, and they come have lunch with us with their parents or anyone in the community. We have monthly staff meetings, which are almost every other Wednesday. We serve cookies and coffee for them. We also have holiday PSAT meetings for parents. We also serve conferences like today. And then we were also participated in a chili cook-off, which took place this year. Yeah, and and it was in El Cajon also. And that's it. Thank you.
Hey, that's really good. Thank you.
Any questions?
Well, so you brought some food, huh? And why don't we before we come over here. Let's go down here with them, and I want to meet the kids. Hi. I'm going to give you the microphone and introduce us to all your students.
Okay, so this is Dion, and he is restaurant management, and he's been in my program for 3 years now. You guys want to go down and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Dion Davis.
Verna New.
Marna. Hi, I'm Rwanda Abraham.
Martina. Elizabeth Garza.
Sergio Quiñones.
All of these students have been with me for 2 years now, and we do an assortment of different things today. So they've created all of these treats for you today on their own. So they kind of come to me with their ideas, and I do all the shopping, and they create. So this is a really great program, and it teaches them basic life skills, not just to go out and get a career in the industry, which they all have a food handler's card, but just everyday life lessons of how to budget and shop and eat healthy as well.
I put myself through college by working as a waiter and a cook in restaurants for 6 years. So it's a great skill. And I think, Bob, did you want to say something?
Yes, now all your students tell all your friends that you're going to be on television tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Channel 24 in the city of El Cajon. So be sure all your friends see you on television. So this is your first starring event that you'll be television actors and actresses. So make the best of it. Smile pretty. Thank you.
A lot of people come and bring us things, but nobody brings us food. So in honor of that, let's take a short recess, and everybody can have a cookie, and everybody should come down and get something to eat. Thank you so much for bringing it. Okay, we're on recess. Please eat. Tell us about the Auto Theft Advisory Committee Award. And Monica, we'll leave it to you.
Okay. Well, Mayor and City Council, on March 14th of this year, the Auto Theft Advisory Committee, also known as ATAC, held the 28th Annual Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year Awards program in Balboa Park. The Auto Theft Advisory Committee is a partnership between law enforcement agencies, insurance companies, Western States Auto Theft Investigators Association, car rental companies, and other related businesses who share a common goal to reduce vehicle thefts in San Diego County. Now, each year, law enforcement agencies throughout the county submit the name of an officer who excelled in the recovery of stolen vehicles for their city or region. A total of 33 officers were honored, with the top 5 honored separately, and 1 top officer was selected. Now, after review, the Auto Theft Advisory Committee unanimously agreed on the best of the best and presented the San Diego County ATAC's Top Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year for 2017 to Officer Jordan Walker of the El Cajon Police Department. Officer Walker joined the El Cajon Police Department in 2013 and was selected as Rookie of the Year that same year. His current assignment is with the Canine Unit with his partner Canine Jester of Instagram fame. Now, Officer Walker recovered a total of 38 vehicles in 2017, valued at over $300,000, with 9 of those vehicles being occupied at the time. Now, one of the vehicles he recovered was taken during a residential burglary, which led to that case being solved. So again, congratulations to El Cajon Police Officer Jordan Walker, San Diego County ATAC's Top Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year for 2017. We thank you for your dedication to law enforcement and for your commitment to providing a safe community for the residents of San Diego and the San Diego region.
Well, thank you, and I'd like to start off by thanking Monica Zek, who has been the mistress of ceremonies for the ATAC Award for, can I say, Monica,
Sure.
Decades?
A couple of decades.
And you do a wonderful job. It's a very important role. The organization is very important for what they do for the community, so thank you for your commitment to that. I also want to thank the council for taking time to recognize one of your dedicated officers. The feat that Officer Walker pulled off this year is nothing short of incredible. Every law enforcement agency in the county sends representatives to this award every year, and for our officer to win this ATAC award for the entire county for the year is phenomenal. So lastly, I want to thank Jordan Walker for your progressive and aggressive stance on auto theft and the people you put in jail for stealing cars and the amount of cars that you recovered last year. That represents the department extremely well. I'm very proud of you. You'll notice that I'm holding the plaque, not Jordan. There's a reason for that. Jordan got his own plaque. This plaque is a perpetual plaque that goes to every police chief if their officer wins for the year. So for this entire year, the El Cajon Police Department gets to mount this plaque in our lobby to show our community what an outstanding officer we have. So thank you very much.
Would you like to say anything? He's going to pass. He's very shy. Well, thank you very much, officer, for your hard work and dedication. We all applaud you. Thank you. Councilman. Angela, go back up. Yeah. Okay, our last presentation, we're going to ask our Director of Recreation, Frank Carson, to tell us about April Pools Day.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. My name is Frank Carson, Director of Recreation. I have my staff, Julia Lawn, Adam Tronerud, and Shannon Bullock right now walking around passing out water watcher tags, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in just a minute. So the background of April Pools Day is it was actually started in conjunction with Heartland Fire more than 10 years ago. The big push was to promote water safety and water safety awareness. Currently, 5 cities participate, including the cities of Chula Vista, San Diego, San Marcos, here in El Cajon, and also in La Mesa. The big push is through the Safe Kids Worldwide, and locally the coordinating group is the San Diego County Aquatic Council, which we are a member of. The big push is getting everybody ready for the month of May, and it's more of a community education campaign. The leading cause of preventable death in the state of California for ages 1 to 5 is drowning, and the second leading cause of preventable death for ages under 14 in the state of California is drowning. Some of our neighboring counties, like Imperial County, the leading cause of preventable death is drowning because they have so many canal and waterways there. So they're even doing a bigger, heavier campaign than we are here, just to more of a community education for the month of May. And most of these drownings occur in residential properties, so in a jacuzzi, a spa, even a bathtub, a bucket. So it's more of you're taking a pledge if you wear this lanyard with this tag, if you have a pool at your location and there's children in the pool, that you are the identified water watcher. You're not the lifeguard, but you're the water watcher, so should someone go underwater, you are prepared to at least identify, reach, throw, and assist that person from drowning. I would hope that everybody take advantage of wearing this or sharing it with somebody that you know that does have a pool. We'll also be giving out these water watcher tags this Friday at April Pools Day. And the event is at the Fletcher Hills Recreation Center and Pool. We'll have a CPR station. You can see Heather, our pool manager, right there giving CPR to a mannequin. We have a grant again this year. We'll be giving away over 100 life jackets to the first 100 people that come through the door. We will be teaching basic water rescue, and we'll also have water safety education going on at the event, some other fun activities for the community. But really this is to kick off a community education campaign more locally here in East County to get people aware of just being water safe, being water aware. I see we have Ellen Carlisle with the Padre Dam, and I'm sure that they have their own water safety campaigns in many ways over there with Santee Lakes. But it's very important to always identify that if there's a child or a youth in or around water, that there's an adult supervising. It only takes a few seconds, and we just don't want to take that chance. That concludes my presentation. Oh, yes, Councilmember.
Thank you, Frank. Let's see if there's any questions. Ben?
The staggering statistics that you gave on drowning was eye-opening. Do you have any for El Cajon specifically?
I don't specifically have any for El Cajon. More recently in San Diego County, it was under 20 as of the last reporting period, which was 2016.
Are we doing anything at all with this awareness by going to the apartment complexes that have pools and jacuzzis? Because I bet you that a lot of refugees that come over from third world countries have never really swam before. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I was in Baghdad, there was only one pool in the city for public use. So, and you had to be privileged to use it. So I know it's something foreign, but I think maybe all these different apartment complexes that have pools and jacuzzis, maybe we have to think about educating those folks.
Absolutely. Currently, there are two groups that more regulate but also communicate with the apartment complexes that have the public pool permits. And to have an apartment complex pool, you have to have a permit through the County of San Diego. They do their own outreach and requirement of proper signage. But more importantly, the group that or the individuals that maintain those with chemicals, filtration, it's IPSA, International Pool Spa Association, and they're the ones that are actually behind the grant of funding this. So the people that maintain those pools, they do a lot of their own community outreach. I'm sure they could do more. We can definitely look into partnering with them more here in El Cajon based to see about further education in those localized pool sections. Yeah.
Bill.
Bob?
Yes, a number of years ago, we had a neighbor who's they were out for dinner or something, and they had a babysitter, and the little child, about 3, wandered out, fell in the pool, and drowned. The coroner came out, and he said this is like the 20th one in San Diego this month. So it is a very thing that happens quite often, and it's a tragedy when things like that. And the mother was just, she just screamed and screamed and screamed when she came home and found out about it. So it's really a tragedy in our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes? Council members? Brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Staff?
No, sir.
Angela, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We have 6 speakers today, and the first one is Mr. Jim Sirigliano. I apologize. I got ahead of myself. No consent items.
Okay. Then, council, would somebody like to make a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Thank you. Now we're at public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, or a successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
We do have 6 speakers,
I was going to guess it was 6.
and our first speaker is Jim Sirigliano.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hello again. City Council, Mayor, staff. Before I speak to the City Council, I would just like to address the chamber here real quickly, because a lot of times they don't know who I am and who I'm representing. And just real quickly, my name is Jim Sirigliano. I live in a senior mobile home manufactured park in the city of El Cajon, Villanueva, and we're applying for rent mediation to the city of El Cajon, with eventually hoping to get rent stabilization. And more familiar to you might hear rent control. Okay, and if anybody's interested and they want to speak to me, I'll answer any questions, okay, after the meeting. To update you, Mayor, and everyone, our last filing for mediation, okay, we actually didn't go through with the letter because we had some issues with the code itself, which the city manager, Mr. Williford, and Doug Shute of the Community Development Department were kind enough, patient enough, and very candid enough to solve all our questions. And it was a good meeting. And we did bring one thing up with them that happened in our park that would have affected part of the filing that we're trying to do with this letter of mediation. And we made them aware of that. It's just another obstacle that we're facing. Well, I just want to make sure here. Okay, and as far as I do want to shout out to also Councilman Kalasho, who, if it hadn't have been for such a short notice, probably would have attended this very meeting. But he wasn't made aware of it, as I was myself the morning, the confirmation on both sides about this meeting happening. So we will be going forward with another mailing, and hopefully in the near future filing another petition for this rent mediation. And well, basically in closing, I just want to say that, like many issues in the city, we're living this every day. It doesn't get any better. And like I mentioned in my last moment at the podium here, we still have some very, very serious security and safety issues going on in our park. I don't wish to speak to them, but they are very serious. And it's just another obstacle for us. And like I said, we're living this every day, facing not only the park owner in our own park, but this attorney who represents a lot of people throughout the state of California. And, of course, you can figure out what his job is. He works for the owners. And I think I'm just about finished about saying that, but that we will be proceeding with another attempt at this here, thanks to the meetings that we've had. They're so kind to do that. And again, if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Let me see if there's any questions. Questions, council? Mr. Goebel?
I do have a couple questions. If you're seeking rent control,
Eventually, yes.
my understanding is rent control doesn't apply to contracts greater than 12 months in length. Are your residents' contracts greater than 12 months in length? Is my understanding correct?
Well, I don't particularly understand your question. You say contracts. What are you talking about, our leases?
Yes.
Oh, no. Many of our leases, and unfortunately, they don't work in our favor, were signed for anywhere between 10 to 20-year contract. And as I've stated, in our particular park, the reason why we're taking this on, representing all the parks within the city limits of El Cajon, no matter whether they're senior or any other thing, family or a mixture of both, is because, like in our park, that 5% a year is compounded. And now you have a lot of seniors who live on a fixed income, and when you start compounding this year and looking down the road a few years, they're not going to be able to afford to live here anymore.
I understand the hardship. I guess my question is...
Yes, go ahead.
Let me address this to Mr. Foley. Would any kind of rent control apply to contracts, leases greater than 12 months in length, and any existing contracts?
I don't know the answer to that, Mr. Goebel. We've never had a rent control issue come up in El Cajon where it's required us to research that, so we can take a look at that.
And if I may, we're going to call it rent stabilization from now on. That's the term that we're going to use from now on. And this is quite a process, a monumental process. And this is just a tiny step that we're working with on this here. And like I've stated, we've seen it done in the city of Santee, a little bit different organization there, but they've done it. And they've been of great assistance to us in helping us with this here. There's quite a few people who have been around for many years working on this. And also in our own park, that some of you city council people, or even you, Mr. Mayor, may have heard of or even worked with in the past. So I hope I answered that as good as I can. And as Attorney Foley, and this is part of the problem. A lot of people aren't aware of this issue and the imbalance, like I've often said, that has existed for many years between owners and the residents of these parks. And it's due. It's way overdue. And I know there's a lot of problems that we face every day, but like I said, we're one of those problems that we're living it every day, and it doesn't get any better.
Are there any more questions? Gary.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
have you pursued the special state programs they have with low-income loans for the residents can buy the park themselves, so they are actually the owners?
You know, I believe you asked this question at one other council meeting. And like I said, first of all, our particular park owner, it's a cash cow. They inherited this park under Article 13. So any money they're bringing in is just, and even if they wanted to do, offered that to us, it would be very difficult to raise the money that they would probably be asking for this year. And I think this was addressed at one other time about this. It's an excellent question, though, because it is an option to all parks.
I've seen about 30 parks in my time as a real estate appraiser. I was overseeing a lot of those where the state had actually provided subsidized loans to some people that didn't make a whole lot of money all over the county of San Diego. And that way you actually, it's called a co-op, and they have a share in the co-op gives you the exclusive right to occupy your space. But then you have all the expenses too that a mobile home park owner would have. So, yes. But it's more of a free market solution here.
Yeah, there's a couple of parks I'm aware of that actually have a balance like that they're more or less part HOA, and they do rent out to people like regularly would, just for the plot of land. I'm trying to think of the name of the park off of Mission Gorge up there. I can't remember right offhand. But I know that's one park that actually has a combination like that. But again, an excellent question, but that's another consideration. I appreciate what you're asking about. And with the limited resources we have right now, we're trying to stay focused on one thing at a time. But I understand what your question is, and I thank you for it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, sir, thank you for coming.
And thank you. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Indeed.
Andrew White.
Mr. White, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. I'm just here really to speak from my perspective and to kind of give my voice and also to step foot into this arena, if you'll call it. And
Mr. White, probably the best thing to do is to pull the microphone and
bring, sorry, my voice carries usually, pardon me. So this is a collection of quotes from history, just to kind of inspire us. And I know we're doing a lot to change, and there's, as have been said already today, there's a lot to do. Friends, family, and peers, lend me your ears. The following is a call for unity and a belief that if things are to change, we must change them ourselves. History has the power to change the present. Will we direct its course or allow it to steer us aimlessly? Some words have been changed from these quotes of history to better suit our time, and passages excluded to save it. If a being is able to serve the people, they are not hindered by the obscurity of their condition. Turning to our policy, there we differ from others. We throw open our city to the world and never by alien acts exclude foreigners from any opportunity of learning or observing, although the eyes of an opportunist may occasionally profit from our liberality. While we advance into the territory of a neighbor and standing on a foreign soil usually vanquish it with ease, citizen defending homes, we have the double advantage of escaping the experience of hardships in anticipation and of facing them in the hour of need as fearlessly as those who are never free from them. Endeavoring to persuade every one of you not to take any care of their own affairs before taking care of yourself in that way which you may become the best and wisest, nor of the affairs of the city before taking care of the city itself, and to attend to other things in the same manner. The state has no business in the bedroom of the nation. That you have loved one another as I have loved you is enough, that you love one another. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of creation. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Think not that I come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. And if we follow our lusts after the knowledge that has come to us, then aren't we of the evildoers? Be not therefore one of those who doubt thereof. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of expansion promise high costs and hardships as well as high rewards. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer to rest, to wait. This planet of Earth was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. This world was built by those who go forward. All great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. It is now the time to depart. Which one of us is going to a better state is unknown to everyone but creation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of City Council, Mayor Wells, and citizens attending. I am you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. And I will be around, and I'm just getting out here. I definitely want to talk to you, sir. So if not today, a couple other people. I'm about water, too. So wherever you're at, I'll definitely be watching that. And thank you guys again for your time.
Thanks for coming.
I appreciate it.
Richard Graydon.
Mr. Graydon, welcome.
Hello, Mayor, councilmen, and staff. Okay, I've been here before, and the fact is that I've been around the city, and I've had some great things happen, and I've had some things that have been terrible for some people. Last week, I came across, while I was walking, a woman who was on the verge of tears. Her problems with her daughter was going to have her lose her apartment and be on the streets. And this I've had before. I've talked to other people. I've gone shopping, and outside the store, I saw a parent there, a mother with 4 children, asking for help. And she was ready, I don't know, she felt crazy because she was homeless. And I've met others. We need to do something in El Cajon. And I've come up here and talked about it before. And as I've said, the city has property and needs to build. And there are things for, if people have a place to stay, especially if it's a family, then the husband or the wife or both can get jobs. And in the city of El Cajon, we have jobs that could be. You go around and you see places where they're rebuilding things, and we can have people that to learn the jobs and all that. And we have where people can help fill in the streets where we have potholes and everything. And this is something that is necessary. We're a city of 100,000 people. We want to help our people here, and that's important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Graydon.
Kurt Crook.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Council, Mayor, I'm here on behalf of the residents of Swallow Drive. In 2015, the residents of Swallow Drive began working with the City of El Cajon to rid our neighborhood of drugs, theft, and threats of violence by the Breesy family. In June of 2017, after a meeting with the City Council, we were informed that the City Attorney and others were prepared to move forward and to resolve the issue, but we were instructed to stay low. At every step along the way, we were told that the city was ready to act, but then nothing would happen. I've taken photographs of drug dealers. I've been chased down by drug dealers. I've been threatened by drug dealers in my neighborhood. The Breesys and their drug friends know us, and they know where we live. We don't have the luxury of moving out of our neighborhood. We don't have the luxury of moving out of our city. We're there every day living this situation. Vaughn Breesy is still coming and going from the 1532 Swallow Drive. The TRO specifically states, item number 2, Vaughn Breesy, Ray Breesy, and Ron Breesy shall not be permitted or allowed to come onto, visit, stay inside, or loiter at the property or on the 1,500 to 1,700 blocks of Swallow Drive in the city of El Cajon for any purpose. Yet, he continues to come there. There's video, there's photographs, there's eyewitness reports to that effect. Today is April 2018, almost 3 years after continually cooperating with the city of El Cajon to clean up this mess, and still nothing. We've gone above and beyond what most citizens would do. Where is the city? Why does the city of El Cajon not support law-abiding citizens? And one last comment. I respectfully request that the city of El Cajon join in the lawsuit against the state of California against SB 54. Thank you.
Hold on, sir. Mr. City Manager, you want to address this, or you want to do it in private with the gentleman?
We can meet in private. We're very aware of that situation. We actually have convictions on all of these people, and but I will inform the council further details at a later time.
Sir, I know you're frustrated. I ask you to continue to work with the city manager. If you don't feel like you're getting your needs addressed, continue to come back. Feel free to contact any of us individually. Certainly, if you call my office, I'll be glad to meet with you. We definitely want to help you. Sometimes we're frustrated by the pace of the justice system and the court system, but I can tell you I've been hearing about this for years, and the desire of the people in this building is to help you. So, but you coming and letting us know what's happening, what's not happening is helpful. So let's just keep in touch. Let's work together, and I promise you that we will do everything we can to try to help you.
All right.
Ben?
Yes, sir.
My apologies. I think I was newly elected when I think I remember you coming up. Is this the same house where there was like a grandmother and then it was the grandkids?
Correct. It was a grandmother who left it to her daughter, who now have the grandkids, or had the grandkids come and go. But yes, they're back now.
And you live on Swallow, so this
I do.
It's a one of the more higher end places in El Cajon. So
It actually divides. There's a lower income section down at the bottom where you have apartments and so on, and then it continues on up until you get to Hacienda Drive.
yeah, I live in Fletcher Hills also.
Right.
So to me, there is no one of the more greater things is the protection of your home value, and seeing that. Seeing it being taken advantage of by a neighbor and by a nuisance like that is annoying. I know I would be annoyed. So I think we have to, obviously, when you meet with the city manager, try to, I know you're on top of it legally, it seems like, with the TROs and everything like that. I don't know how well that's going to work as if they live there. But, so do you know if the home is paid off?
I have no idea. I am under the impression, based on conversations I've had with other individuals, that she's upside down in the home. She used money off the home to buy a condo in La Mesa. The TRO states that she must be there at least 10 hours per day. We know that that doesn't happen. We know that she drops the car off, leaves in the morning, comes back in the afternoon, and sometime late in the evening, then leaves again.
So if you are under the impression that she's upside down on the home, if you do have a realtor friend, then they can pull up her payments, right? 30, 60, or 90-day payments, then you'll be able to know. I'm only saying this because if the house is paid off, then it's an uphill battle, right? If it's not paid off and they're not making any income, then there's some sort of light in the end of the tunnel. Obviously, we want to help as much as possible. I'd like to come out and look at it. I'm not too far away from you, so if you want to call my office. And
I know where your house is. I've been by there a couple of times.
How do you like it?
Yes, sir.
Bob?
A number of years ago, I went to a program called Safe Streets Now. And basically what they do is one of the police officers comes out, probably the community policing in your area, and teaches you how to document things that are going on. And you get enough neighbors together. In small claims court, each one of you can sue that neighbor for causing illegal activity in the neighborhood, and sometimes the small claims have awarded like $150,000, $200,000 against that property, and it'll go on their tax lien, and eventually they'll foreclose if they don't pay that to you.
Well, I believe, I'm sorry, but I believe in the TRO there is the capacity and the capabilities to provide fines against the home, lien the property if necessary. I could be wrong. But I believe that it has some action item in it that would allow the city to go against the Barisi family.
But this would be allow for the individuals in the neighborhood to document what's going on and then file a nuisance claim in small claims court up to $7,500 per suit. And so if you got a number of people together, like 20 people, that would be $150,000. And in small claims, these have been won before, and there's been liens put on houses because of it. So it might just help you. I don't know. You can talk to the chief about that. He might know more about it than I do, but I remember the program very well.
Okay. Garrett?
I know this isn't an agendized issue, but I feel very strongly about what's happened to you, because I had the same thing happen to me in Santee, and I actually had to move to El Cajon to get away from it. And that was 31 years ago. But I would like to let the city attorney and city manager know that I would prefer we take the strongest possible action on this situation without getting into any details.
Thank you. Sir, thanks very much. Please feel free to come back and give us updates as to what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last speaker is Bonnie Price.
Hello, Bonnie. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. At our last meeting, there were two notions set forth of how to deal with the mobile home parks. One was that the city adopt the ordinance that Santee has, and the other one was to put it on the ballot, put the issue of stabilizing rents on the ballot for the mobile home parks. I'm wondering if you have given any consideration to implementing either of these suggestions.
Does anybody want to speak? Bob?
I know in Santee, they spent years doing this, and they spent millions and millions of dollars getting it through the courts to try and do that. And it's a very, very costly thing for cities to do something like that. And then, like in New York, where they have rent control, a lot of those places have become dilapidated because the landlord won't pay any money to fix them. Like in mobile home parks, they wouldn't fix the streets, and they just become ruts all over and everything, because they just won't spend money where you can't keep up with the cost of living as far as the rents are concerned. So that's one thing that causes a problem when you have that type of thing. But it's hard to say. Rent control has not worked in a lot of different areas where it is, especially New York is an example, and I think there's other cities too.
Well, there is currently a petition being circulated that people are signing like crazy. I've seen it in action. It's just to put caps on all rents in California because there's a housing crisis. And I think it would be real leadership if this city would put it on the November ballot and let people in El Cajon help homeowners who actually own their property and are put at a terrible disadvantage if they cannot pay the high rate of rental increase. This is just not fair to people who have invested most of their money in their homes. And homeowners take better care of their property than those who are non-homeowners. And I think you should be very mindful of this and put it on the ballot if you don't want to get caught up in hundreds of thousands of dollars going to court. Let the people decide. I'm sure they'll support it. They would not want their home to be lost after they bought it because they couldn't afford the rent increase for the space. It's just the humane thing to do.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate it.
Okay.
No more cards.
All right. There are no written communications, and there are no public hearings today. Item 4.1 is a report on the East County Advanced Water Purification Program, and I'll ask staff to tell us about this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Staff has been working with several regional partners to explore the viability of an advanced water purification program for East County communities. Specifically, the city has been working with Padre Dam, Helix Water, and the County of San Diego Sanitation District, or Department. If implemented, this program would divert most of the city's wastewater from going to the city of San Diego to Padre Dam to be treated at that location. Yasmin Arellano our Deputy Director of Public Works and our City Engineer will provide a brief update about the findings of where we are to date with our discussions with our partners. She's also going to present an opportunity for us to continue to explore this viability. Then she'll turn the time back to me for a conclusion.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Thank you for the opportunity. We're here today to present you with viable options for the treatment of our wastewater. The city currently contracts with the City of San Diego as a member agency of the Metro JPA for the treatment of our wastewater at their facilities. Based on dynamic project cost information within the last couple of years as a result of having to offload the Point Loma wastewater treatment facility to comply with federal mandates, the city has been considering participation in an East County alternative where we would send most of our wastewater flows to Padre Dam Municipal Water District for treatment at their advanced water purification facilities, also known as the AWP. The orange line signifies in this graph how historically our wastewater treatment costs have slowly increased over the years. But we're beginning to see in the blue line how this cost will have a steep increase in the next 25 years. Based on information provided by Padre Dam staff, it appears that in the green line, it appears that we have less of an impact to our ratepayers if we were to follow what the AWP is projected. As you may recall, in September of 2014, the city agreed to participate in a study with Padre Dam, County of San Diego, and Helix Water District by contributing $50,000 to determine if there was value in further exploring the advanced water purification project. In 2017, we also executed an MOU with these agencies to further explore and determine the feasibility of the AWP, with our contribution being at $76,000. The project was determined as being feasible, and we're here today to request participation in the next steps. Provided with this cost that show, we're here today to request participation in the next step based on provided project information that show benefit to our ratepayers in the future. Our contribution to the next phase is $500,000 to cover preliminary engineering, environmental studies, permitting, and the development of agreement terms in the months to follow.
So in conclusion, we're at a point where we think right now the numbers look viable enough that we should continue to explore this. I mean, these are preliminary numbers. Padre Dam has relied on some heavy-hitting consulting firms to help vet these numbers. We are challenged in that we don't have wonderful numbers from the City of San Diego. They don't forecast beyond 5 years. So we're taking their current 5-year projection and forecasting what the debt service for these pure water programs are going to be. San Diego is going to be having actually 2 different pure water programs that we'll be having to finance through our participation in Metro. So there's some value in thinking about keeping it smaller with just us, and we can have an opportunity to control our costs a little bit more. Staff would recommend that the City Council adopt the resolution before you. It does allow the city manager to enter into the first amendment to the MOU that we have with Padre Dam. As Ms. Arianos indicated, that it does include a $500,000 contribution. That's a lot of money. The city, the County of San Diego and Helix Water District have already committed that funding. That would be paid out over a period of time as these studies go on. But ultimately, about a year from now, we would have a definitive yes or no, this project is viable, this project's not viable. But it's an investment that staff's recommending we take in exploring not only cheaper way to treat our water, our sewage, but also to create a potential water source in the future. Alan Carlisle, the CEO and general manager of Padre Dam, is here as well. But staff or he can answer questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. First off, let me see if the council has any questions of you.
Bob?
Do you happen to know what the overall cost would be to the city of El Cajon over what period of time to do this? Do you have any idea, or would that be Padre Dam's answer?
So as you remember, right now, the city pays Metro, for example.
Right.
But we really collect it from the ratepayers.
Exactly.
And so it's passing through, but we're the ones that ultimately pay that bill. And so if we don't increase our costs to match Metro's costs, it comes out of our general fund. We end up subsidizing. So that's one of the reasons why we're exploring it. If we can go back to one of those graphs, if you can see this graph, the green line is the projected cost that our ratepayers or that the city will be paying over the period of time out 25 years if we were to go with the Padre Dam experiment. What this doesn't include is we do have some debt with Metro that is built into those Metro costs. So somehow that's going to be figured out during this next year period, what that debt looks like and how that would be configured. Those lines may end up being a lot closer in the end, but we do think that we can get a little bit more control over costs over time by participating with Padre Dam.
Well, how much more over the $500,000 do you think it'll take to get this system up and running? Or is there any projection on that?
Mr. Carlisle actually has some early estimates. It's not, to build the system would be built through bond financing and some grants, but Padre Dam can answer that.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor.
Welcome.
Council. Yeah, thank you. So the concept currently, we believe that a JPA format is probably the most advantageous to procure this type of project. Under that construct, the JPA would carry the debt burden for the project, so it wouldn't fall on our individual balance sheets. I don't know if that answers your question.
But the ratepayers are the ones that are going to be paying it through the wastewater costs that they pay.
That is correct.
Is there any idea what the ultimate cost of setting the system in place?
Yes, we have projections in the neighborhood of $400 million for the entire build-out of both the wastewater treatment side and the advanced water purification side. So that's the water and the wastewater side.
Right. So that would be bonded, and each city or water district would be paying their percentage of whatever that happened to be.
Well, again, a joint powers authority would be the mechanism that we would propose, and under that scenario, the JPA would carry the bonds, and they would be backed by service agreements with each of the agencies. So the ratepayers from each of the agencies would be paying back that debt service. And under our projections and our analysis so far, we will be at or below the cost that we would normally pay to Metro, with more local control and the opportunity to create a water supply that equals about 30% of East County's needs.
Now, the overall cost would be paid by by bonding, but do we have any idea what the annual cost would be? And is there any help from the state of California for? I know they fund a lot of different things in different ways, and you never know. You got to look under the carpet to find out what they are. But sometimes there's grants out there and things like that.
We are looking under every carpet and every rock and stone that we can find. And we have secured several grants in the neighborhood of about $20 million so far.
Good.
We have, through the state revolving fund, a low interest loan at 1.7% for $100 million. And we continue to pursue programs like Title 16, which we are eligible for, and we hope to get about $15 million from that federal program as well. So we are aggressively seeking, as part of the process for this next year of work, is seeking out those funding opportunities as part of the financial planning.
Now, I know there's a lot of places upstream on the Colorado River that don't have an ocean to dump it into.
and they're obviously cleaning up their water and dumping it back into the Colorado River. Is there any comparison to what they have paid or are paying to process their water?
So yes, and you know, we compare cost of service primarily in the San Diego region. Those that are discharging along the Colorado River, which is in the neighborhood of about 120 different discharge permits. Now that story alone tells our region that we're already drinking recycled water.
I understand.
And that water isn't treated to the advanced level that we're talking about here in our program. Our program will take this water through 4 additional treatment processes. It will be blended with water at Lake Jennings through a surface water augmentation regulations that the state of California just put out last month, and then treated once again through the Levy treatment plant. So we're essentially creating a very highly clarified and cleaned, pure source water rather than using the water from the Colorado River.
Now, I understand that Orange County has also been doing this for a number of years, and do you have any idea what it costs for them to set up their system?
Yeah, so they are at 100 million gallons a day of recycled water, where our project is 15 million gallons in comparison. So they're at 100 million gallons right now. They're going to 130 million gallons here soon. And they've been in business for about 7 years, and they've been working under not surface water augmentation, but groundwater replenishment. And those regulations have been out for several years. They were the first to come out. So cities like Anaheim are extracting water from the aquifer that Orange County is replenishing and using that for their drinking water.
And I remember there was a thing out towards El Monte Park that a number of years ago they were going to use the same idea for that. Is there any idea of possibly using that as an opportunity?
Yeah, that was explored by Helix Water District, and it was determined that it wasn't feasible for a variety of reasons. Cultural resources, issues with land use, and other things that rendered that project unsuitable.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm having just a little bit of trouble reading your graph here where it says AWB project and you go straight down. What year is that? What year does that correspond to?
2029? 45, way up at the very end.
Well, actually just where the dot is where it goes AWP project. If you go 2038. Okay. So it seems to me, looking at this graph, there's a potential savings of about $10 million a year to the city in 2038, and that this city could end up being pretty thirsty during that time. And I like the idea of getting 30% of our water being reclaimed, so we're not held hostage by Metropolitan Water District. So it seems to me this has a lot of positive aspects to it. And again, local control is really important. And in fact, my experience with Santee Lakes go back to 1959. Was a little kid to Santee, and I was going around Sycamore Canyon, and I remember them filling up the lakes. And in my time in public office, Padre Dam has appeared to be extremely efficient and responsible players in the water business. So this looks like a pretty good idea to me. We could, for several reasons. One, we could save a lot of money. It might take 20 years, but that 20 years goes by pretty fast. And two is we'll have a guaranteed source of water. So I think this looks pretty good. Thank you for bringing this to us.
Ben?
I want to start off by saying that I like it a lot, the idea. I look at this and I treat it like a business proposal, one of many companies, let's say, that I've invested in personally when they come to me with what it appears to be like this, a proof of concept. I'm curious, how much money, I already know the answer, but I want it said. How much money has La Mesa given?
So now,
or will want to give?
So the city of La Mesa isn't a partner in this. The county of San Diego.
No, I know. So none?
Correct. That is correct.
And Lemon Grove?
Zero, yeah.
So, and I want to say this again, I do like the idea a lot, but I play on this team, right? So I play in El Cajon, on the El Cajon side. So I'm looking for, and I'm looking at this like as if I was an investor, investing in a company like I've done before. So, and I would need to look at it like I need to wet my beak, no pun intended, because we're dealing with water. But so I almost want to say that you have to know what that price per gallon would be once we achieve whatever it is. Even in your proof of concept stage, you have to know what that is. And I would say that because we're going to invest, obviously more than this initial these projections, because the prices are going to go up, and I've been around the block too many times before to know that they're going to be, you're going to come back and ask for more money, which is not a problem. But I want to know that we're going to get the price per gallon at like 1% on top of what you're going to get it for. So whatever Padre is going to get it for, I want to fight for this city to get it for 1% higher. Because if we're going to be an investor, obviously a big chunk, and there's a reason why you're here, and I'm saying this to you because you're smarter than me, you know, and I know you know what I mean. So I just want to say that this project is great, but I also want to treat it like it was an investment, and I want to get preferred stock. You know, I want to know what the price per gallon is going to be for you, and I want to know that we want to talk about fixing that price per gallon for what it is going to be for us. 2038 sounds great, but people who are paycheck to paycheck or watching their sewer rates go up, they're looking at that 2038 going like, I don't really care. I know that they should, and I know that we have to strategize long term, but so that's the way I'm looking at it. And again, I want to reiterate, it's a good project, but I do want to get a really, really good deal.
And I think the benefit that we have in the way that we're approaching this project in terms of partnerships with the four of us, Helix Water District, Padre, the County of San Diego, and you good folks. We're partners in this, and we provide wastewater services at Padre, and we want the best price for our customers, just like the City of El Cajon and just like the County of San Diego. On the water side, same thing. We provide a water service. We want the best price that we can provide to our customers, and so does Helix. So we're all bargaining, and we're all fighting for the same thing, and that is to provide the most reliable service to our customers at the lowest possible price that we can.
What is the price what's the price going to be per? Is it cubic? Yeah. What are you guys? What are you guys using?
We use an acre foot price.
Okay. Yeah. So what is that price going to be now, and as opposed to when this is all said and done? After everything, because I know in the proof of concept you have to have some sort of algorithm to figure out.
I can give you a range.
Yeah.
And we're shooting for this target. The water that we pay for, Padre Dam pays to import from Metropolitan and the Colorado River. Is $1,700 to $1,800 an acre foot. This water is going to be around $2,000, a little bit higher than $2,000. So that's more expensive. Now, what we're paying for is reliability. What we're paying for is local control. And what we don't know is what that $1,700 that we're paying for now is going to go to. As I was sitting here, I got a text email message from the County Water Authority that said that Metropolitan just voted 5 minutes ago on the Twin Tunnels and contributing almost $11 million of Southern California taxpayer money towards that effort. Now that $11 million is going to get translated into water costs that we're paying for down here. So that $1,700 may have gone up to $1,800 while we were sitting here in this audience. We don't know, but I do know one thing. I do know that imported water prices are continuing to rise. They're going to go up. I know that the imported water comes from hundreds of miles away on systems that were built in the early 1900s. This water will be locally controlled. It will travel 10 miles versus 600 to get to our customers. And from that concept, that is why we began pursuing this project so aggressively back in 2014.
Sorry, just one more thing really quick. So in this, and maybe I should ask Graham or something, in this tentative, I guess, or this memorandum of understanding, was it ever discussed as far as what the price would be? I know, and if you're thinking that it's early, I mean, not really, because there's $500,000 that's going to be dished.
Certainly. The analysis that we've seen so far has taken San Diego County Water Authority, and they actually project out rates. And so those rates are sort of a known projection. So those rates are known. We have them in a database. Padre Dam, through their analysis, has done the same. And that's what Mr. Carlisle is talking about, that delta between 17 and 18 million, or thousand, versus 20,000. So we know that there's a difference, there's a more expensive water. Because we don't provide our own water, Helix does, we're really focused on the sewer side. However, because we know that our ratepayers are also water payers, we kind of have to look at both of those rates, because perhaps water is a little bit more expensive, but if water is more expensive only because sewer rates are much lower, then ultimately it's a better deal. One of the things that we'll be doing in this next round is talking about governance and talking about how to transfer some of our risk, because to be a partner, if staff were to recommend that we move forward with a JPA or some sort of governance, a partnership, we're taking on risk. And so there needs to be a reward with that as well. And that will be one of the things that we'll be negotiating. We've made it very clear to the other parties as well that we expect to have since we have skin in the game, we expect to get some benefits. And so some of the things that you've brought up today are things that we've already been talking about.
But they would follow this disbursement of $500,000, right? So they would be after.
That is correct. That is correct. And ultimately, if Helix Water District, who's going to be the main purchaser of this water, says this is too expensive, then this project does not move forward, because we have to have a customer. We have to have someone that's going to purchase the water besides Padre Dam, who will be using the water as well. We have to have a purchaser.
Yeah, but then so again, it goes back to this like proof of concept that we have to fund this project, right? We're funding this idea, it's a brilliant idea, okay. We're funding this idea, and in order to, and I understand all the risks, just like when I invest in businesses, I understand all that, but we would need to have a prelim of whatever it's going to cost you, we're at 1% higher or whatever it is, because that way, this is a good sell for taxpayers, right? To say,
sure,
we're going to have autonomy over our water regionally, and we're not going to be dependent. And we negotiated, back in 2018, 1% over what they're going to get, what's going to cost, them and their end. Because I feel like eventually you can look at it where if a different water manager, not as nice as Alan, creates a monopoly if they're going to be the only ones making poo-poo water drinkable, then that becomes an issue. So we have to negotiate tough now.
And that's what this 1 year period is to do. I mean, we've invested, the money we've contributed so far has paid for studies that have gotten us to a point where we feel comfortable enough with the numbers that we think it's viable. But ultimately, until this next phase is done, for the environmental to be done, for us to negotiate long-term contracts with Helix Water District to understand that, looking at how to generate revenue off of the waste that's produced, these are some big questions that I wouldn't be comfortable to tell you, this council, let's do this today. But I'm comfortable enough to say it's worth $500,000 to explore.
Yeah, but I think he knows the number, right? Like he's comfortable with a number. Because you gave me the numbers as far as a cubic yard of water, however much it's going to cost, cubic acre foot.
Yeah.
So if you know what it is, are you comfortable with saying, if somebody was to come up to you, if we didn't have this discussion and say, all right, so we're going we're going to play ball and we're going to go down this journey together. Are you comfortable with, this is just pure conversation, a 1% over what it's going to cost you? Okay, because you hesitated, that means we're not going. That means he could say 15% or 10%. That's the problem that I don't want to run into. Thank you.
Yeah, I will tell you that what I've been telling our board, and we have about $6 million invested in this so far. So the partners have contributed greatly, and you're considering a major contribution right now that is at risk because we don't know with 100% certainty that this project is going to go forward. We've invested $5 to $6 million because we believe that this project is viable and have put that money at risk for this project. What we've told our board is that it needs to make sense, and so we might get to the end of this year and we might hit a roadblock that we can't overcome, or we take a detour and take a time out and go a different route. But the fact of the matter is that from East County, we are sending 15 million gallons a day of wastewater 20 miles to the Pacific Ocean. And today, we have the technology to clean that water to a level where we can reuse it for drinking water. And we have the regulations from the state of California that say we can do it. And we have preconditioned permits from DDW to do that. So all indicators are that this is a viable project, and all indicators are that we can bring the cost per acre foot within reason with imported water in the interim, and we know that price is going to expand in the future. And we know that we can treat this water, we believe that we can treat this water comparable to San Diego Metro. Those are what we know right now, and that's why we feel comfortable making these investments that we're making right now and asking. I will tell you that you have a tough staff. They are good, and we've already started the preliminary term sheet negotiations, and they have your back, and they will get the best priced for El Cajon residents. There's no question in my mind.
Steve. So the question is, should we spend $500,000 of the money of the people of El Cajon to continue this project?
Right.
And the project really is to say, should we have more local control of our rates and the future of our rates? That's kind of what we're hoping for here. Mm-hmm. On the question of, and this is more for Mr. Mitchell, are there any exit costs to get out of Metro? You said there's some debt service costs. Are there any additional contractual penalties for withdrawing from the system that you're aware of at this moment?
So we would not, if we were to move forward with the advanced water purification, we would not completely disconnect from Metro, because we actually have, as you recall, sewer flows downhill. So we actually have some portions of El Cajon that will need to continue to drain towards the city of San Diego and Metro. So we'll never fully end our relationship with them. They are actually very aware of this project. We believe that the contract, if we were to completely sever our relationship with Metro, there would be some ramifications. But we believe because we would not fully sever, that we would just divert, that we have the legal authority to do that. But that's part of the exploration of what we'll be looking at in the next year as well.
Yeah, I think it would be important to note if there's any decrease in volume that we have commitments to, that doesn't trigger any financial penalties, which essentially add to the cost of the project. So I think that's important to know. I think it's important to know Helix has already voted yes. They're willing to buy the water should this be successful someday. They're moving forward with $500,000. I think the county is in for $500,000, right?
Correct.
And you're in for $2.5 million.
Correct.
So
on this phase, yeah.
Of the next year, we're looking at $4 million. Really, the point of the next year is to get more data, isn't it?
Get more assurance.
To get more confidence.
Absolutely.
In whether this is a program that is viable, economic, win for everybody. So we're just saying at this point, should we continue down this road that looks promising for the residents of El Cajon? Is that kind of where we're at?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Bob.
Since La Mesa and Lemon Grove, I think they're on the Helix system.
Correct.
Since they aren't contributing anything to this, will they be paying a higher rate to Helix than what we are because we're the ones that are putting the foot forward?
Well, they are part of on the water side. So the water, the price for the advanced treated water will be borne by all of the water users in our service area, Padre Dams and Helixes, about 400,000 population. That includes portions of La Mesa. So yes, within their bill, they will pay for the increased costs for this advanced treated water.
But would they pay higher rate than what we are because we're kind of the first ones on the block that are putting up the money to make the studies and everything, or are they going to take a free ride on that?
Yeah, that's a question for Helix, and they really wouldn't be taking a free ride because as a resident of the Helix Water District, they are owners of the Helix Water District infrastructure, and the Helix Water infrastructure is a partner. So as a partner of Helix, they are taking the risk of becoming part of this program. There is inherent risk with just being a resident of Helix.
But the cities aren't paying anything like we are.
Correct. They do not have the wastewater flows that you, the county, and Padre have.
I think the city of El Cajon's major benefit is that projected $10 million a year savings 20 years into the future. The other thing that's important to me is the reliability of the water system, because we live in an earthquake area here in California, and there's probably a pretty good chance in the next 20 years there's going to be a substantial earthquake somewhat north of us that could disrupt that 600-mile pipeline, and you have to have water. Everything stops if you don't have water. And I'd rather have my water source 10 miles from here, so if there's an earthquake, it'd be easily patched up rather than 600 miles from here. So the water reliability, I think, is a very important factor here, and local control. And I think one of the things that the staff should look at is something like what's sometimes called a most favorite nation status, that nobody else gets a better deal than we do. And I understand that Padre has some overhead that has to be calculated into their cost, but I'm sure staff can work that out.
All right, any more questions? Well, I had lots of questions, but they asked them all, so.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
I do want to thank your staff. They have been fantastic to work with. I appreciate all their due diligence and really digging into the numbers and digging into this program to get you a solid recommendation. So they've been fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Angela, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
We have one card, and it's from Bonnie Price.
Very good discussion, and I like the idea of the city getting more control over water that you will reuse. There are some really terrible actions being taken by people around the world buying up local water sources, including T. Boone Pickens. I'm sure you've heard of him. He of oil and natural gas. He bought up land at the Ogallala aquifer, and he now controls the water for the city of Dallas. Talk about money. He's got them by the throat. So the more you can do to control your own water source, the better you are.
Thank you. No more cards.
No more cards.
All right. Council, it's back to you. Any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion? Steve?
I got a question. So really, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Mitchell, what we're talking about here is the wastewater portion. We're not really talking about water supply, because Padre Dam wholesales the purified water to Helix, and then we buy our water from Helix. So our conversations on incoming water rates should be with Helix, correct?
That's correct, and that's why the funding for this comes from the wastewater fund.
And as far as our participation, our protection is really against the city of San Diego's future sewer charges to us.
That's
correct?
Exactly, that's correct.
So that's an important distinction. We only really have control over the wastewater portion of this. Helix has control over the incoming water portion of this.
And I think the council knows this, but just to reiterate, we're going to reclaim the water one way or another because the city of San Diego Metro is going to reclaim water. They are under a legal requirement either to clean up the Point Loma plant to a completely different level, which is incredibly expensive, or to get into reclaimed water and have less water go out to the ocean. That's the choice they've already made. That is a decision they have made, and they're in the process of figuring out all the questions that this council asked today that they're asking themselves. How much is this going to cost? How much are we going to charge our ratepayers, including the city of El Cajon and its citizens? And as you saw that graph, but whatever level of uncertainty we still have with Padre Dam's numbers, I will tell you from my perspective, is much greater with the city of San Diego's numbers, which is one of our overall concerns. There are numbers out there. Part of it is that old game, who do you trust? We're going to reclaim water. We are going to pay for that, including all the infrastructure in the immediate future, one way or another. That is not within the city of El Cajon's purview. What is within our purview is which system we're going to go into, and that gets into what's the best deal for our citizens. But the only reason that Padre is having a conversation with us is because we are a sewer agency. It's not because we're the city of El Cajon that has 105,000. Because they're not talking to the city of Santee about anything, because the city of Santee is neither a purveyor of sewer or water. Padre does that both for them. So yes, they're talking to us because we are a sewer agency, not because of our citizens.
Well, I see this as a win-win. I think Bonnie made a really good point in having local control. We have two aspects here. One is the $10 million or so we could possibly be saving in 20 years on the sewer portion. The second is the 30% of the water that could be dropped into the Helix system that could increase our reliability. The worst thing that could happen to us is that someday we turn on the tap and no water comes out because of a broken line going up to 600 miles up into past Los Angeles. So I think this is the way to go. We had that local control, and I think that's really, really important. And cost savings and reliability.
Anybody else want to weigh in? Ben?
Well, I'm going to vote yes on it, but I mean, I want, listening ears to know that in this stage, if it was me in my personal life, I would want to, secure whatever rough numbers that they have, just because I know that they know what their rough numbers are from their proof of concept, and just to get that percentage, and that way we know we can go back to citizens and say this is what we did. And of course, it's a great idea.
Somebody like to make a motion? Bob?
I'd recommend that the City Council adopt the next resolution, authorizing the city manager to enter into a First Amendment of the Memorandum of Understanding with Padre Dam Municipal Water District to participate in and fund $500,000 toward the second term work related to the El Cajon, the East County Advanced Water Purification Program.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Good luck. We will see you in the next phase. There are no commissioner reports on today's agenda. Item 6.1 is my activities report, which is as recorded. Item 6.2, I've got a legislative update. I'm recommending the City Council formally oppose AB 3119, which we learned about during our last meeting from Mary Sessom. Similar to AB 805, AB 3119 is another attempt to shift power away from the cities in the region to the city of San Diego. In essence, this legislation folds the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority and its assets under the control of the San Diego Unified Port District. As you know, the Airport Authority has representation from each region in the county. There are 9 seats on the Airport Authority Board with non-voting representation from the U.S. military and Caltrans. The Airport Authority is a great example of regional governance that has been successful. Under AB 3119, all airport decisions which have a regional impact will be decided by the Port District. The Port District Board is made up of representatives from only San Diego, Chula Vista, Coronado, Imperial Beach, and National City. This legislation strips El Cajon of its representation and is not good from a regional perspective. I recommend that the city oppose AB 3119. I have included a sample opposition letter that can be mailed if the council votes to oppose AB 3119. Angela, any speaker cards?
No speaker cards, sir.
All right, council discussion. Yes, Gary.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with you. I think it's important that we have representation on the airport authority.
Ben?
I have a question because you know more about this than me. You said we're going to lose our representation on the airport authority?
Yes.
Who's there now?
We just appointed a new person. I don't remember his name.
It's Mary Sessa.
Mary has just left.
Mary
and we
has
just-
been for the past
we
several years.
just-
There's an East County, North County, and so on. I'm sorry, Mayor. They were just elected a couple weeks ago. It was from
He's a Santee businessman.
Santee.
We'll get you the name.
Is it Mr. McNellis?
So
I can't remember if it's Mr. McNellis or
That's-
Mr. Hall, but I think it's one of those.
That's okay. And just really briefly, educate me on how often, like, what does this board do? Just give me like a paragraph. Because when I was reading it, it seems like a lot of what they do affects that region more. So unless I'm not reading it correctly.
I'm sorry. What was the last part of the question?
Can you just give me a brief on what the board does?
Staff, you want to handle that one?
I know a little bit about the board because of my relationship with the city of Lemon Grove when Mary Sessum was the board member representing East County. So I have reviewed that. What they do is they do review the annual budget for the airport authority that includes the San Diego International Airport. They look at expansion opportunities. They help with the marketing of expanded lines into that area. One of the big tasks that they had several years ago, as you recall, is looking for a viable second location for Lindbergh Field or an alternative airport. But that's what they've done. They also manage the regional airports in the area, even though, for example, Gillespie Field is completely under the control of the county. They do have some coordination with the other air spaces in the county. It's one of the reasons that the military is involved as an ex officio member of the board.
Yeah, so that's what I guess I was a little bit confused about because we want obviously representation for here, but if none of that, if no discussion or anything that they covers our area, or does it?
Well, I think you have to look at the fact that the San Diego airport is a regional airport, and it affects the commerce and affects the travel of every person in this region. So if we're in a position right now where we have a small bit of representation on that board, it's at least we have some representation. And if an issue comes up that somehow affects our region, affects our commerce, affects our people, it would be nice to be able to have some say on how that's what happens, right? And we really don't know all the things that are going to be happening. Graham brought up a point that at a point a few years ago they were talking about moving Lindbergh Field, which could be a pretty massive thing for everybody that lives in the San Diego region. But even small things like recently they made a decision on where to locate the new rental car parking. And that affects traffic, and that affects what's going to be done with the other parts of the land. And all those things I think are things that the people of El Cajon would like to have some say on if possible. And frankly, I'm a little unsure as to what the possible reasons other than making another deal like AB 805, which really benefits the unions.
Yeah.
And is really designed to grab power and to make the city of San Diego the only powerful entity in the region, and to be able to dole out all of the union contracts. So I think that's the unstated political part of this, and that's what I'm really opposing.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was it about the rental car place you were saying? Which rental car place?
Recently, I believe they changed the location of where all the rental cars are to across the
We're talking about in San Diego, right?
Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah. So the issue that I have with it isn't the political part or any union contract. That's a separate issue. But I would assume that their position is, hey, it's in my city. Why? And if it doesn't affect you, why are you telling us where to move the parking lot? Like it would be if Lemon Grove came down here, it's like I don't want you guys to build a Marriott over there. We have to, if there's a hotel board or something. So that's I guess I'm a little unclear, and you'll have to pardon my negligence on this. I don't know too much about it, but I'm just trying to understand, not from a not on PLAs. I understand the project labor agreements. I just don't understand. I guess what this board does for El Cajon's benefit, or if somebody can tell me from the past, has there been a time where that representation on that board sure saved El Cajon, fill in the blank?
I couldn't give you an example of that. All I know is that when we're talking about protecting the city of El Cajon, giving up power, giving up say is probably not the right direction. Steve?
Your letter references a sentence, as the Airport Authority Board also makes land use decisions surrounding the 16 airports throughout the county. That implies a direct connection between the Airport Authority Board and the land around Gillespie Field. Am I thinking correctly on that?
Gillespie Field and all the other airports.
They would be under, that's how I read the sentence. Am I interpreting that right?
Yeah.
That the Airport Authority Board would have a say about land use or some kind of influence. 16 airports around the county, I assume that means Gillespie Field included.
Yeah, what it's referring to is every of the local county airports, such as Gillespie Field, has what's called a airport land use master plan. And it's not that they do zoning. It's not that kind of land use. It informs surrounding property owners and cities, including El Cajon, when it comes to Gillespie Field, of heights of buildings, clear zones, categories of land use that are appropriate out the runways of the airport. And so occasionally you will hear us say, as we get up closer to Gillespie Field, that somebody needed an airspace easement from Gillespie Field. That's because of the kind of airport land use master plan that you just referenced. And so from that standpoint, yeah, it does affect all the cities around airports.
So I would say that is how the Airport Authority Board has direct impact on the city of El Cajon.
Good point.
Bob? I think this is similar to what's happened at the Metropolitan Transit, because basically with this new, I think it's AB 905 that
AB 805.
805 that they've transferred all of the power on the MTS board to the city of San Diego and the city of Chula Vista, which if the other cities wanted to do something or didn't like what they were doing, we would have no say in it, basically. It's just made us non-existent. And I think with the San Diego City Council has graduated into the Assembly and the Senate and with their members, and they are basically doing this to all different phases of local government. Basically, probably 20 years from now, they'll be taking over all of the cities and making all the decisions out in outlying areas because they're just power hungry.
That's kind of how I see it, too. Yeah. Gary?
Well, we are tasked with looking out for the best interests of the citizens of El Cajon. And I don't like the idea of giving up our say in the airport, because then the citizens of El Cajon have no say. So I'm going to really fight whenever other jurisdictions try and take away the say of the citizens of El Cajon. And I think this is exactly that case.
Any other discussion? If not, I'd like to make a motion to approve this and send the letter.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-1 vote with Councilmember Colascio abstaining.
All right, thank you very much. We are now at activity reports from the council members. Mayor Pro Tem Gary Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember Bob McClellan. Councilmember Ben Colascio.
They are as I've reported them.
Councilmember Steve Goebel.
As reported.
All right. There are no joint council member reports and no general information items for discussion. There are no first readings of ordinances today. Item 14.1 is the second reading of an adoption for the proposed specific plan amendment for an industrial building located at 1900 Weld Boulevard. We will ask the city clerk to read the title, but first, Angela, are there any speaker cards for this item?
We do not have any speaker cards.
Would you then please recite the title of the ordinance for specific plan number 246?
An ordinance approving an amendment to specific plan number 246 for an industrial development located at the north side of Weld Boulevard between Gillespie Way and Windmill View in the M Zone, APN 384-23204, general plan designation light industrial.
All right. Somebody like to make a motion? Bob?
Motion to adopt the ordinance amending
Second.
specific plan number 246.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, that brings us to closed session. We have one item on the agenda. Mr. City Attorney, would you please recite the title and lead us into the closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council will be meeting closed session to discuss public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, subdivisions B1, and the matter is a public employee appointment. The title of the office is City Manager and Executive Director of the Successor Agency and Housing Authority.
All right, with that, I will make a motion to adjourn to the closed session.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back soon from the closed session, although this one might take 15, 20 minutes. All right, the city attorney will now report on actions taken in the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session for the purposes of discussing the possible employment of a city manager, executive director for the City of El Cajon, the Successor Agency, and the Housing Authority. And direction was given to the city attorney following that closed session, or in that closed session.
All right, this brings us to adjournment. The regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, Successor Agency, to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency held this 10th day of April 2018 is adjourned until Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 3 o'clock p.m.